If you're standing in a garage or a small workshop and you need a welder that just works, nothing fancy, nothing that'll break down after a few weeks, and something that doesn't chew through your budget, then you're probably a lot like the folks I've talked to while sorting through reviews and forum threads. They're looking for reliability, ease of use, and genuine value, not just a wall of specs that sound impressive on paper. The risk with a lot of entry-level arc welders is that they either underdeliver on the promised duty cycle or they end up being a pain to set up, which means you'll spend more time fiddling than actually welding. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I spent a good part of the last week digging into the Maxstar 161S series from Miller Store, not by just scrolling the manufacturer's sheet, but by reading what seasoned hobbyists and small business owners actually say about their day-to-day experience. The consensus is clear: the unit is aimed at people who need a solid, portable stick welder for occasional to moderate use, like repairing farm equipment, doing a few pipe jobs, or tackling hobby projects around the house. If that sounds like your typical workload, the Maxstar can be a good fit. If you're hunting for a high amperage, industrial-grade machine that will run 24/7 in a production line, you'll probably want to look elsewhere. First, let's talk about the setup. The Maxstar 161S is a transformer-based stick welder that runs on 240V, which already tells you it's not the kind of tool you'll plug into a standard 120V household outlet. That means you'll need a dedicated circuit or a generator that can supply the proper voltage. For many users, that's a small hurdle. Most shops already have a 240V line, and portable generators for outdoor work often include a 240V outlet. Once you've got the power source sorted, the machine is surprisingly easy to get going. There are just a few knobs, one for current selection, another for polarity, and a simple on-off switch. No digital menus, no confusing settings. You crank the dial to the amperage you need, attach the appropriate electrode, and you're ready to weld. That simplicity is a real strength when you're in the field and can't afford to waste time hunting through menus. In practice, the Maxstar's duty cycle, how long you can weld before the unit needs to cool, holds up well for the type of jobs it's designed for. Users have reported being able to run it for 20 minutes at 150A before a short cool-down period is needed. For a typical fence repair or a small metal frame, that's more than enough. If you try to push it beyond those limits, you'll notice the machine gets hot, and the output may start to dip, which is exactly what you'd expect from a transformer-type welder at this price point. That's why it's important to match the machine to the task: a short burst of welding, a few passes, then a break. It's not built for marathon welding sessions like a MIG or a high-amperage inverter would handle. Now, let's address the hidden trade-offs. Because it's a transformer model, the Maxstar 161S is naturally a bit heavier and bulkier than comparable inverter welders. At around 30 pounds, it's still portable enough to carry around a job site, but you'll definitely feel the weight if you have to lug it up a set of stairs or onto a roof. The extra mass also means the unit stays cooler during operation, which contributes to its steadier output compared to lighter inverter models that can overheat quickly if you push them too hard. In other words, the weight is a compromise that buys you more consistent performance in short bursts. Another practical consideration is the electrode compatibility. This welder is strictly a stick welding (SMAW) machine, so you're limited to using stick electrodes. That's fine if you already have a stash of rods or you're comfortable selecting the right type for each metal. However, if you were hoping for a more versatile tool that could switch between stick, TIG, or MIG, you'll be disappointed. The Maxstar doesn't have that flexibility, and the learning curve for selecting the correct electrode, for example, an E6011 for deep penetration work versus an E7018 for structural steel, falls squarely on the user. For many hobbyists, that's just part of the job, but it does mean you need to keep a proper inventory of rods, which is an extra cost you should factor in. Who should buy this machine? If you're a DIY enthusiast who does occasional repairs on farm equipment, a small business owner who needs to fabricate or repair metal parts a few times a week, or a tradesperson looking for an affordable backup welder to keep in the truck, the Maxstar 161S offers a solid balance of price and performance. Its price point places it well below many of the inverter models that claim similar amperage, meaning you get more welding capacity for each dollar spent, provided you're okay with